Paties prieks sveikt jūs šajā virtuālajā tikšanās vietā. Es esmu Marcins Dīriņš, klienta attiecību vadītājs, DATI Group. Es redzu, ka pašreiz ir pieslēgušies jau 26 cilvēki. Tātad paldies par šādu atsaucību. Bija piereģistrējušies pār pa 70, jā, bet es pieļauju, ka mums šodien ir divas tēmas. Jā. Tātad tēma par datu analītikas risinājumiem un tēma par datu analītikas risinājumu platformu. Jā, tad iespējams, ka kāds pieslēgsies arī šai otrai tēmai, kura sāksies 11. Jā. Tātad šīs dienas sarunas tēma ir pieredzes stāsts par Eiropas uzņēmumu datu analīzes automatizāciju. Sākumā nedaudz organizatoriskas lietas. Jā. Tātad šo webināru organizējam DATI Group sadarbībā ar mūsu partneriem IBM un Red Hat. Webinārs tiek ierakstīts un ieraksts būs pieejams DATI Group YouTube kanālā. Saiti uz webināru ierakstu mēs izsūtīsim uz jūsu e-pasta adresēm, tātad tām adresēm, ar kurām jūs reģistrējāties, tātad varēsiet noskatīt arī pēc tam, jā. Semināra ilgums ir paredzēts līdz 12:00, taču būsim priecīgi atbildēt uz iespējamiem jautājumiem arī pēc šī laika. Ja rodas kāda interese par apspriestām tēmām un nepieciešama papildus informācija pēc šī semināra, droši kontaktējāties ar mums, ar DATI Group, ja, kontaktinformāciju es ierakstīšu čatā. Kā par webināru dienas kārtību, ja, iesākumā es pavisam īsi iepazīstināšu ar mūsu uzņēmumu DATI Group. Pēc tam turpināsim angļu valodā un dosim vārdu IBM pārstāvi Marcinu Beliecki no Polijas. Savukārt 11. mums pievienosies Red Hat pārstāvi Matti Nieminen un Eero Arvonen no Somijas. Atgādinu, ka pēc katras prezentācijas mēs rezervēsim dažas minūtes atbildēju uz jautājumiem, kurus varat uzdot, izmantojot čata funkcijas vai Q&A funkcijas. Ja, tātad šobrīd es īsi pastāstīšu par DATI Group un pāris slaidus burtiski, ja, un tad mēs dosim vārdu Marcinam. Ja. Tātad piegot ekrānu un es atvēršu savu prezentāciju. Tātad par uzņēmumu, ja, par DATI Group. Būtībā DATI Group ir viens no pieredzes bagātākajiem uzņēmumiem Latvijā, IT, informācijas komunikācija tehnoloģija jomā. Uzņēmums ir dibināts 1993. gadā, un šobrīd mēs esam vairāk kā 30 darbinieku uzņēmumā. Uzņēmums darbojās 4 tādās vertikālēs, ja, jeb tā saucamos pīlāros, jau uz ko balstās uzņēmuma biznesa. Ja. Tātad no kreisās puses tā ir infrastruktūra, jeb mākoņu risinājumi. Tātad tur mēs piedāvājam dažādas gan privātā, gan hibrīdā mākoņu risinājumus. Tāpat arī, tradicionālos datu centrus vai skaitļošanas dažādas risinājumus, ja, balstoties uz gan šīs dienas partneriem Red Hat un IBM Cloud, ja, tā arī Dell un VMware. Otrais virziens ir sistēma integrācija. Šeit mēs iekļaujam arī video novērošanas, video analītikas risinājumus un dažādas, integrētos risinājumus. Kā vienu no piemēriem es gribētu minēt projektu, kuru mēs esam veikuši kopā ar Latvijas valsts mežiem, ja, tad attālināta ugunsgrēka atklāšanas un novērošanas sistēma. Tātad šajā projektā uz 12 Rīgas mežniecības torņiem tika izvietots video novērošanas kameras, bet tā kā šie torņi atrodas meža vidū un tur nebija ne elektrības pieslēguma, ne kādas hakaru kanāli, ja, tad mēs nodrošinājām arī alternatīvās enerģētikas avotus, ja, kā saules paneļus un vējģenerators, tāpat izveidojam arī privāto tīklu. Ja. Savukārt analītikas pusē mēs izveidojām privātā mākoņu platformu, uz kur tad tika izvietot specializēta video analītikas risinājuma platforma. Ja. Tad tas ir tāds diezgan sarežģīts, ja, bet integrācijas projekts. Ja. Tas ir tipiski, ar ko mēs arī nodarbojamies kā sistēma integrātors. Tad trešais pīlārs ir programmatūra. Tad šeit ir dažādi datu analītikas risinājumi, kā Harris Computers un IBM. Ja. Varbūt Harris Computers ir zināms, ka ar saviem I2 risinājumiem. Ja. Tāpat arī dažādi kiberdrošības risinājumi, dažādākajiem vajadzībām. Un arī ļoti specifisks virziens ir kriminālistikas risinājumi. Tad dažādi rīki, kuri izmantos speciālie dienesti savām vajadzībām. Un ceturtais pīlārs tā ir programmatūras izstrāde pēc klienta specifikācijām, pēc klienta vajadzībām. Ja. Un šeit arī, teiksim, mēs esam piedalījušies un gan arī paši virzījuši, teiksim, dažādas valsts mērogu sistēmu ieviešanas projektus, izstrādes un ieviešanas projektus. Bet tad ar DATI Group, ar IBM un Red Hat mūs saista ilga un dziļa partnerība. Ja? Tad mēs esam IBM Gold Business Partner, Red Hat savukārt Advanced Solution Provider. Ja? Un tas, lai šos statusus arī nodrošināt, tad mums ir arī cilvēki ar nepieciešajām certifikācijām, gan pārdošanas inženieri, gan inženieri, ja? Gan arī, teiksim, piegādes speciālisti. Un mēs esam DATI Group, mēs esam arī aktīvi Latvijas ekosistēmas dalībnieki un piedalāmies tādās nopietnākajās, teiksim, organizācijās kā CERN, Balti Group, ja, kā Latvijas drošības un aizsardzības industrijas federācija, Latvijas tirdzniecības un rūpniecības kamera, Latvijas informācijas komunikācija tehnoloģija, un es arī, teiksim, nepieminēju, mēs esam arī LATAS biedrs, tas Latvijas atvērto tehnoloģiju asociācijas biedrs. Un šajā sakarā vēlos pieminēt arī, ka mūsu izstrādātais privātā mākoņa risinājums, kur mēs izstrādājam uz atvērtā koda tehnoloģiju bāzes, ieguva 2021. gada LATAS gada balvu. Tātad šeit ir mūsu kontakti, ja? Tad, kā es minēju, šos kontaktus es ierakstīšu arī tērzētavā, jeb čatā. Un tad lūdzu sazinieties ar mums, ja jums ir kādi jautājumi par DATI Group, ja, vai par DATI Group piedāvātiem risinājumiem vai pakalpojumiem. Okay, and Marcin, then I give the screen to you. Yeah, so when you continue with the IBM story.
Thank you, Armand. Unfortunately, we have to change the language. Unfortunately, I am not able to follow in Latvian. So thank you. So Armand, thank you very much for inviting me to the webinar today. Let me share my deck. Okay. So thank you also all guests and participants for joining for the webinar today. I do believe you will find the meeting interesting. Nothing appeals to us better than examples. That's why we decided to share some examples with you, examples from various industries and with various areas of utilizing data and analytics solutions. My name is Marcin Beliecki, and in IBM, I'm a sales leader of software, which contains data and analytics and also automation. And I'm responsible for Poland and Baltic countries. Okay, so let's start. Why do we look for data and AI solutions? Not because we think it is nice to have or trendy. We don't have time for such things. We look for such solutions because we face some challenges or even problems and need something to effectively solve them. What kind of challenges? Various ones. On this slide, you can see a few examples. So it can be related, for example, with frauds, mainly in banking, insurance, telco, or public sector. Or regardless of the industry, we can face some challenges with data itself, like how to analyze, for example, unstructured data, or how to manage various data sources with different formats and standards, or maybe more business-oriented examples, even from our daily life, from today, how to predict the prices for natural resources like coal, gas, and at the end, electricity, yeah, for the winter, for example, yeah, or another perspective, more sociological approach, demographic indicators or election results. So we face it in our life every few years. Of course, some other examples you can see on the slide, like demand forecasting in manufacturing, churn in telco, or predictive maintenance in energy utilities. There are plenty of other examples of predictive analytics, but this is not the end. There is one more area, in my opinion, really underestimated. This is optimization. You can see it on the right side of this slide. We can optimize plenty of processes, like, for example, public transport, logistics, production planning, etc. What is the most beautiful here, and the most important, that optimization solutions monetize immediately. For example, if we are a transport company and optimize the routes of our trucks, so the easiest example, we can save on the fuel, on the maintenance of the trucks, but even on the number of trucks we need. So you see so the profits are, first of all, they are countable. Secondly, they are available immediately. Okay, so we have some challenges and we need some help from data and analytics solutions. But what kind of solutions? There are plenty of them. When we think about analytics, we can have in mind, for example, one of the terms you can see on the slide: business intelligence, data science, big data, AI, machine learning, data warehouse, etc. And indeed, all of them exist. All of them can be helpful, but what to start with? How to verify which approach would be the best? Which solution to select at the beginning? What if we listen to someone and go into building a data warehouse with sophisticated ETL processes, while data virtualization would be good enough and faster and cheaper? Or spending months on designing and testing advanced data mining models, while using auto AI would solve our challenges in a couple of days? This is a key challenge: how to select the appropriate tools and approach. And now imagine you have a platform where you can have all types of tools and solutions. You can use whatever you need and whenever you need, and you are not obliged to pay for all of them, but you can adjust the usage and the scale of the capabilities of the platform to your actual needs. And even more, you can put the platform wherever you need, on your premises, on your favorite cloud, or even you don't need to deploy the platform anywhere. You can just use it as a service. Sounds interesting? So I have good news: such platform exists, and this is IBM Cloud Pak for Data. And what IBM Cloud Pak for Data really is? This is one platform consisting of all IBM-owned data and analytics-related technologies in one place and integrated with each other. So you can find there all solutions for collecting data, like databases, data warehouses, solutions for data virtualization, etc. There are also engines for organizing data, like ETL tools or data quality or others. Solutions for analyzing or even advanced analyzing data, like, for example, machine learning or our SPSS, maybe you've heard about it, or Watson Studio. Especially Watson Studio seems interesting, as this is an AI platform containing of SPSS. SPSS is one of the best known market standards for data mining. So it's a combination of SPSS and most popular open sources, like, for example, R, Python, or Scala. So it allows data scientists or analysts to extract, to select the best from all mentioned technologies. So, for example, one can take an existing model prepared in Python and enrich it with algorithms from R or SPSS. And this is really unique and shows how IBM opens itself for other technologies, including open source. We provide an open technology and open platform. I will talk a little bit more about this later on. So coming back to the platform, so I mentioned collecting data, organizing data, analyzing data. So once we have all of these steps in the process of analyzing data, at the end, we would like to share the results. So of course, Cloud Pak for Data also consists of ready-to-use BI tools, like, for example, Cognos. So when I started describing Cloud Pak for Data, I mentioned the platform is integrated, and this is also very important. Some of you maybe have already experienced challenges with integrating various technologies. For example, database from vendor A, ETL from vendor B, and BI platform from vendor C. In documentation, it's usually stated that integration with other technologies is easy, just like that. But real life can look different. In our case, there are no such challenges at all. This is just one platform one piece just works with all others. And last but not least, the platform is a full data and analytics stack, but this is open for connecting additional elements, either from IBM offering, we call them cartridges, you can see this on the slide, or even OEM third parties, including open source, like I mentioned before. For example, MongoDB, Cloudera, Actifio, Palantir, and others. Okay, so this is, let's say, in a nutshell, Cloud Pak for Data. Before going more into the details, let's switch to what appeals to us the most, so examples. So I prepared 3 use cases showing 3 different approaches, 3 different aspects of data and analytics, and 3 different industries. So use case number 1, banking, Danske Bank. So the case describes automating data governance across the bank to meet changing expectations and increased regulation. We can say this is a typical use case for any organization with many data sources, with various standards and formats, with increasing volumes of data and quite a big demand on various types of analysis. Some of them are related with end customers of the bank, like user experience, but of course not only, also churn, frauds, all others. But some of them are related with external regulations. And these ones are really severe, as the bank is exposed to serious consequences and penalties in case of being not compliant. We can find similar situations also in other industries, like, for example, in insurance or telco or others. So, but let's come back to our use case. So the bank, various data sources, lack of centralized solution or even strategy, and a dynamic demand on many types of data analysis. And what was done? In the first step, of course, the strategy was prepared. And what is important, the strategy assumed that all data-related processes will be automated, not manual processes anymore. In the next step, Cloud Pak for Data was deployed, but not all of its components were used. As I mentioned before, Cloud Pak for Data is like a set of blocks, and you can use the ones you need. The bank just used 2 of the blocks. Watson Knowledge Catalog for building an universal inventory of all metadata for further use of data scientists, for example, and data stage for automating the flows of the data, standardization between various data sources, etc. Maybe some of you noticed that we talk about data in this case, and none of IBM database technologies were used. Correct. As I said before, Cloud Pak for Data is a platform open for third-party solutions. So in this case, the bank used existing and owned by the bank databases and data lakes engines. Okay, technology is one aspect, but not the most important one. The key are business results and benefits. You can see them on this slide. So first of all, ensure proper data governance while simultaneously leveraging data across the bank. So we can say the bank now has one consolidated view on all data from one place without moving the data from one place to another, just one place from which they can look at all data. Consolidate stacks into a single user experience platform and increase collaboration. So this is extremely important for all analysts and data scientists. They do not have to lose time for preparing, verifying, or cleansing the data. They have the data ready for further use. So get trusted data and reduce the amount of data preparation. Do you remember when I talk about external regulations? Without high quality and trusted data, there is no chance to meet those requirements. So you also see what Chief Data Officer of the bank says. Thanks to Cloud Pak for Data, they were able to implement a data governance strategy across the whole bank, but also the last part of these sentences is interesting. The solution based on Cloud Pak for Data is integrated with third-party existing in the bank technologies in both directions. So Cloud Pak for Data uses the data from various data sources, but also feeds the data into data warehouse environment or data lakes. Okay, so as to summarize this use case in one sentence, if you would like to build or improve your data governance processes, Cloudpack for Data is a really good platform for it. Okay, for the second use case, completely different. So this is a law company and AI document analysis, of course, with Cloudpack for Data. In fact, it doesn't matter that we say about a law company. The use case is a very universal one and can be applied in all industries. Here, the key challenges was or is related with analyzing unstructured data. So a law business is based on documents, not on numbers, but on the documents, various types of them. From the technical point of view, we can talk mainly about files like PDF, Word, JPG, Excel, etc. And the content of these documents is completely unstructured and not standardized. Plus, of course, we can meet more than one language. And also scans of handwritten documents can happen. So coming back to this use case, the company wanted to save the money and time of its employees, which means lawyers, spent on initial reading, analysis, classification, prioritization of the documents. So what was done? So in the first step, of course, Cloudpack for Data was used, but like in the previous case, not all elements of Cloudpack for Data, but only selected ones. The ones which allowed the company to, first of all, extract the data from documents, then standardize the extracted data, automatically classify the information, and at the end, pre-analyze the information so as to assign the documents to the cases and the cases to the lawyers. So for the first step, Watson Discovery was used. Then Watson Knowledge Catalog for standardization and classification of the information. And at the end, Watson Studio for analyzing the information already prepared. And the results, I think this is obvious. And of course, it's presented on the slide. So the company has just saved a lot of time, which now can be utilized for the core business. So working on the customer's cases and helping to solve the cases. So as to summarize this use case in one sentence, if you have an issue with unstructured data, with extracting them, classifying, standardizing, analyzing, so Cloudpack for Data is a platform which can help you in this. Okay, and use case number 3, my favorite one, not only because it's related with chocolate, but because it is from Poland, from my country, and I was personally engaged in this project. So here we talk about a chocolate manufacturer, in fact, chocolate and chocolate-related products. And we talk about optimizing the production planning. But like in the previous case, it doesn't matter they produce chocolate. Any production company could apply such solutions. And they do. What were the key challenges for the company? By the way, the name of the company is Wedel. Maybe you met the product somewhere in the shops. So, like I would say, like every manufacturer, they have limited production resources. I don't talk only about people, but mainly about the production lines. There is also a fluctuating demand. So it's not as easy as to say that, you know, people like to eat chocolate for the whole year. So there are peaks. There are also some seasons, like for example, there are strawberry-based products around June, July, which are not available, and there are no demand on them in, for example, in December. So there is also limited storage capacity versus limited expiration dates of the products. Yeah, and at the end, of course, there are profits and costs, so operational effectiveness. So they wanted to really optimize the production so as to meet all market demands, but to decrease the cost and the losses. Yeah, for example, of producing too much products of one type. So what was done? So at the beginning, SPSS was implemented for detailed demand forecasting based on internal historical data, but also external data and some predictors and advanced analytics and models. So thanks to this, they have already very detailed and accurate demand, yeah, for the whole year for all geographies. So once they had this, they implementing planning analytics. So this is our solution for planning, budgeting, and stuff like this. So so thanks to this, they had the ability to create flexible financial and production planning. And at the end, I think this is the most interesting, they implemented decision optimization for optimizing the plans according to resources owned. So what does optimizing mean? So for example, you can produce the milk chocolate after a standard chocolate, but you shouldn't produce the standard chocolate after producing the strawberry chocolate before really deep cleaning of the production line. So just one example for you to understand. So again, like in the previous use cases, so only selected blocks from Cloud Pak for Data were used, not all of them. And the results, as you can imagine, so the production was optimized in line with the market demand. So they decreased storage costs, decreased losses, yeah, and decreased cost, and at the end increased profits. So, and they're really still using this and really are satisfied with what they have. So, okay, so as to summarize this use case in one sentence, if you would like to optimize your production planning or any other processes in your organization, if you would like to optimize something, Cloud Pak for Data can also be a platform which can help you. Okay, so there were 3 use cases, 3 different ones, different industries, different challenges, and different solutions implemented. So even looking at these 3 examples, we can draw some conclusions related with data analytics projects. First of all, we can easily prepare a list of the most popular or common challenges or triggers, which should tell us, hey, this is a time for data analytics project. So on the left side on the left side of the slide, you can see them. Of course, the list is much longer, but these ones are the most representative. So, for example, variety of data sources. So you remember the case of the bank, yeah, unstructured data from the law company, volumes of data or the documents. So in fact, it exists in all cases. So time spent on manual data access analysis, etc. So if you identify one of such challenges, then it's worth considering data analytics project. And let's assume we decided to start such a data analytics project. So what are the most important aspects or conditions of successful implementation and achieving the business results? In my opinion, there are 4 key aspects. Time. This is important to achieve results as soon as possible. So my strong recommendation based on my personal experience is to start small and then continue with incremental approach. In Poland, we have such a proverb, Kraków. Kraków is one of the biggest cities in Poland. Maybe you were there. So Kraków was not built in a day. And there are many examples proving that such approach, for example, the chocolate manufacturer, that there are many examples proving that such approach is really effective. So you can see on the slide a print screen from the chat from our Ministry of Health webpage. So when the COVID started, we deployed a simple chatbot for our Ministry of Health for improving communications with us, with patients, with citizens. and it took us only 4 days. Of course, the functionalities were limited, but it was already working and helping us, I mean the patients and the citizens. So then, of course, we have been adding other functionalities and features, but we started small, and we our customer, all of us, we had the first results already after 4 days. So this is the approach I really recommend, to start small and then continue with incrementing steps. Okay, so the second aspect is technology or methodology, yeah, or both. So as I have already mentioned before, this is crucial to select appropriate technology. So what does appropriate mean? So appropriate means technology which allow you to effectively solve the business problems we have, not too complex, and the technology should be easy to use, to implement, and adapt to changing needs and requirements. Yeah, so the life is dynamic. And here I'm, of course, I'm really sure that IBM Cloud Pak for Data is a good approach. And so you can use whatever you like, as I said before, whenever you like. And I will tell more about this in a minute. So the third condition is, of course, to have a successful, so as to have a successful project, is to have a really experienced and skilled business partner on the implementation side. So I think it's obvious for all of us that DATI Group is such one. So they have data analytics in their DNA and really experience and skills which are guarantee for successful implementing data analytics project. And last but not least, the costs or money. So let me park this, and I will come back to this later on when I come back to Cloud Pak for Data. So it's a little bit more about the technology, because as I'm from IBM, I'm happy to tell about technology. So let's talk about the technology we offer and the technology which was used in all the use cases I showed before. So let's talk a little bit about IBM Cloud Pak for Data. So as I said before, Cloud Pak for Data is an integrated platform of all solutions IBM offers for data analytics project. So solutions for collecting data, for organizing data, for analyzing, for infusing. So you said some of the examples when I was describing the use cases. But this is not all yet. So Cloud Pak for Data is, as I also mentioned before, platform open for other technologies, both from IBM portfolio and third parties like open source. But you can see it's in the lower part of the slide. Cloud Pak Core Services. What is it? So Cloud Pak for Data is also enriched with enterprise services provided by IBM for such things like security, monitoring, diagnostic, backup, service provisioning, and others. So thanks to it, we have a guarantee the platform is fully secured and scalable. And so selecting Cloud Pak for Data, we don't have further headaches related with securing the solutions or monitoring, so as to be sure it works optimally. And last but not least, at the very bottom of the slide, you can see the red rectangle, Red Hat Openshift. What is it? So as you have most probably heard, 3 years ago, IBM acquired Red Hat. And why we did it? So as to have the most popular container platforms on the market, which is OpenShift. So when we look at the Cloud Pak for Data, so all elements of it, like SPSS, data stage, or other technologies I was talking about, all of them are in containers. Plus, we are adding the Red Hat OpenShift platform. So thanks to this, you can use or you can deploy Cloud Pak for Data anywhere. So on your premises, on other clouds, so everywhere when containers, let's say, are standards, are used, you can use Cloudpak for Data. So so even you can put, let's call it put or deploy Cloudpak for Data on clouds like Microsoft Azure or Google or AWS. So our competitors. For us, it's not a problem. Okay, so as to summarize in one sentence, Cloudpak for Data is one integrated, secure, and scalable platform containing all technologies necessary for data analytics projects delivered in containers. So such approach, in my opinion, is absolutely unique. Of course, you can find all data and AI-related solutions, for example, on the most popular clouds, but then they can be used only from those clouds. You cannot, let's say, copy them to your premises or to other cloud platform. Cloudpak for Data can be deployed absolutely anywhere. Okay, so let's look how it looks like. I mean, how the user interface look like. So the interface is one, common for all kinds of user, business analysts, administrators, data scientists, whoever. So it's really easy to navigate, as you can see here, among all types of objects. Everything is intuitive and does not need any scripting. Of course, when someone prefers scripting, it's also possible. So you can easily switch between various objects, solutions, projects, or sets of data. Even if you decide to use various elements of Cloudpak for Data, you have access to all of them from one place, from one panel. You don't have to install separate panels for different Cloudpak for Data elements. You don't have to integrate anything. All technologies, all solutions are and all data are in one place. You can, of course, you can also use some search mechanism. So now let's spend 1 or 2 minutes on looking at Cloudpak for Data from two key perspectives: from the perspective of data and from the perspective of analyzing the data. So the data perspective, we call it data ops. As I mentioned before, Cloudpak for Data delivers the full stack of capabilities to collect and organize the data. In fact, to prepare the data to be fully available, standardized, classified, and high quality, which means trusted, for data scientists, analysts, and other users. So there are tools for covering data governance processes end to end. So here you can see on this slide, yes. So there is business glossary, policy management, reference data management, even data lineage, classification, so everything. There are also, so once we have data governance, under control, we can also use some tools which are available in Cloudpak for Data for improving the data quality, like data discovery, profiling, business term suggestion, etc. And then once we completely manage the data, also improve the quality of the data, we would like to share the data, with other users for various say activities. So so here in Cloudpak for Data, there are also a lot of tools for automating and securing the data consumptions. So you remember the Danske Bank case. So it was exactly mainly fully related with the data governance, with the data ops. And the second perspective, MLOps. So the perspective for data science or data scientists or data analytics. So in maybe you remember the case with chocolate manufacturer or even the law company when the advanced analytics was used. So IBM Cloudpak for Data provides a set of services for the whole cycle of AI. Starting from data preparation through exploration, building models, then validation the models, deployment the models, monitoring, improvement, so the whole cycle. And the MLOps environment is based on IBM solutions, mainly SPSS, now it's called Watson Studio, but also, as I mentioned before, the open source, like Jupyter Notebooks, Python, R, Keras, etc. There is also something really interesting, Auto AI service. Auto AI, which accelerates model building, because auto AI, it recognizes the types of data and recommends the models or the algorithms that should be used so as to be the most effective. Okay, so once we have gone through all data governance processes and run our analytical models, we would like to share the results. Of course, there are various ways of presenting the results. There are also various needs or requirements. C-level requirements are completely different than business users, like, for example, people from sales or marketing or production departments. So here we can use richness and simplicity of BI and reporting dashboarding capabilities. I have prepared a short movie, like 3-4 minutes, which will show you how easily you can use Cloudpack for data to prepare reports and dashboards in a super easy way. So let me now switch. Oh, not to this. Okay. But there is no voice.
I think you show enable this.
Sorry. So as
Then I think you show stop the screen sharing and then share once more and then it's
wait a second. Okay, something is not working back. So I will not fight with the technology now. So so let's go through it without the original voice of the author. So you can see the Cloudpack for data. So then the nice guy, our colleague from IBM, he's presenting how you can easily prepare the dashboard, having the data already prepared through the thanks to the processes related to data governance and modeling the data. So as you can see, no scripting, you just click, select the template. Now he will select the data source, and yeah, so you can also you see also the subtitles in the bottom. Okay, so the data source is already added. And now he will select the detailed columns, which means data, to be presented on the dashboard. So I think that if someone of you have already used enterprise BI tools, doesn't matter if from IBM or other vendors, so I think that you are familiar with such drag and drop approach. And in fact, I think you expect that in such a platform, such approach will be, which will be also available. So you see here, you can select, you can adopt, you can draw. In a minute, he will show various kinds of the charts. Okay, let's wait a second. Yeah, so the first dashboard is prepared. It automatically you can use the filters, yeah. So without any adding special functionalities. Now he will change the colors, and now it will be the most interesting thing. So we have the dashboard ready, and would like to share it with other users. So look what happened. So it's ready. Yeah. So you are entering the URL address to the web page, and the dashboard is ready. Yeah. So it took him like 2 or 3 minutes. Of course, he had the data already prepared, but it's really, I would say, really easy, nice looking, does not need any really technical competences to prepare such a dashboard. Okay, so let's come back to our presentation. So I also mentioned describing the key aspects of implementing data analytics project, that of course costs is quite an important factor. So I would like to spend just like minutes to show you what we did regarding licensing model of Cloudpak for Data. So in the past, when you thought or maybe you were implementing some IT solutions or related even with data and analytics, so probably you met various types or kinds of licensing. So for example, databases are usually licensed per course or terabytes, ETL usually per course, BI and reporting tools per end users. So there was, you know, kind of miss and match. So what we did here in Cloudpak for Data, so we standardized the modeling. So Cloudpak for Data is licensed per core, in fact, per virtual private core. So which means that it's much more simple than before. The license, so Cloudpak for Data is available as a perpetual platform. You can use it also in subscription or software as a service. And why the simplification of licensing is so important? So look at the example. Imagine the most typical case regarding data analytics, a data warehouse. So during the night, on the right side of the slide, during the night, usually the data scientists, analysts, they sleep. Yeah. So there is no power need for running the analytical models. But usually in the night, the data is updated. Yeah. So the ETL processes are running. So that's why, you know, the whole power should be focused on database engine and on ETL engine. Once we are in the morning, so the data is updated in the data warehouse. So then there is no need to run ETL at all. Yeah. So all the power can be switched to the analytical tools. Yeah, like Watson Studio, Watson Machine Learning, SPSS, and Cognos Dashboard. Yeah. So you as the customer, you don't have to simply spend money. Yeah, to buy ETL, to buy machine learning, to buy DB2, but you are just, you know, investing in a set of cores, and then you can use whatever you like. Yeah, something in the night, something in the day. When, for example, it turns out that you have too many, that there are not too many people who want to use the BI platform, so you can switch, you know, the power of the cores into, I don't know, data science platform. So I think I'm exactly in time. One slide to summarize Cloudpak for Data. So 5 differentiators. The differentiator number 1 is really one integrated and hybrid cloud platform containing own solutions and can be deployed anywhere. So I think this is really unique. And as I mentioned before, you are not obliged to use all components. You are selecting whenever and what and how you use each of them. The second differentiator, so there was no time to go into the details. I will just touch the topic, data virtualization. Maybe when I talk about the Danske Bank, I touch it. So data virtualization is a really nice approach, yeah, which allows you not to physically move data from one place to another, but you can use Cloudpak for Data as a one place, yeah, to see all data from all data sources, but you see all the data already standardized and connected with each other. Then so differentiator number 3, that is really full platform for data and AI and catalog and governance. Yeah, so I talked about this before. Differentiator number 4, auto AI. It's really nice. Yeah, so it, for example, supports you to still better prepare data for advanced analytics. So like, for example, there is a missing values imputation. Yeah, as I mentioned before, it recommends you the best algorithms based on the data. Yeah, so it's recognized the types of the data, not only the types like numbers or texts, but the types, I mean, financial data, date of birth, demographic, etc. And analyzing this, it automatically recommends which models and algorithms to use. And last but not least, decision optimization. So I talk about this, describing the chocolate manufacturer case. So in my opinion, really optimization is underestimated. I do recommend, and I really, I'm a big fan of this solution, and so it's also a part of Cloudpak for Data. So more or less that's all. I also advise all of you to talk to DATI Group about the details, not only about the details of Cloudpak for Data, but the details of data and analytics, about the projects, about the business results, business values, which can be delivered thanks to such projects. Okay, so that's all from my side. Thank you very much.
Okay, let's have a look whether there are some questions in a chat room or in a Q&A. Okay, I don't see any questions, so it was very clear and comprehensive, or let's say it was not understandable at all. Yeah, so but anyway, thank you, Marcin, very much for this valuable insights. Yeah, and especially, let's say, linkage with the particular customer stories. Yeah, so probably let's say for the audience. Yeah, so if you need some time to think and so on, as I mentioned, yeah, you can contact us. Also after the workshop, yeah, after this webinar, so on the contacts which I provided also in the chat. Okay, I see Jānis Celme has a question. Okay, Jānis, please go ahead. Okay, probably I can find Jānis and enable microphone. Yeah, so just a moment. Okay, Jānis, so your microphone is enabled.
Thanks. I have a question regarding OSINT. It is a very popular resource of data nowadays. What is the relations between OSINT and Cloudpak? It is included or it is as a third-part solution?
It's not included, but exactly as you mentioned, so you can easily use it as a third party. So there are no, regarding Cloudpak for Data, there are no limitations. I mean, regarding the third party technologies. So if there are only not technical obstacles to integrate, you can use anything.
Okay, and as we know that IBM sell i2 for Harris computers. What is reason? I think that i2 will be as a part of this Cloudpak or not, or I am wrong.
You mean i2?
Yes.
Well, So IBM's sold i2 like a year ago, more or less, yeah. And I will tell you, personally, for me, it was a huge surprise. Because
not only for you.
yeah, but you know, so I was not personally engaged in i2 projects. So as formally in IBM, i2 was a part of security, not analytics. But you know, it was somewhere, you know, between. So so here, even not worldwide, but here in Poland and in Baltic, so we have quite a lot of customers using i2, yeah, and so it was sold. I don't know why, but okay. But of course, coming back to let's say to today's topic, there is no obstacles to integrate i2 with any elements of Cloud Pak for Data. Yeah. So for example, you can use the rich data governance elements and solutions provided by Cloud Pak for Data, so as to prepare proper data for i2 for further analysis. Yeah. And from the other side, yeah, so once you have the i2 analysis done, so you can share the data using Cloud Pak for Data tools, cockpits, dashboards, whatever. Yeah, but i2 is not a natural element of Cloud Pak for Data.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, any other questions? So not in a chat room and not in a Q&A. Okay, Marcin, then we say many thanks to you for this presentation and for your insights. And we, let's say, hope that some of the participants of this webinar still will contact us. Yeah, so, and then correspondingly, we will contact you and ask, let's say, some more detailed questions on the topics you just presented. Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you very much. So at the end, what I can add that if some of you would be interested to just to check how Cloud Pak for Data looks like and what it can do, so we are open to provide a kind of POC, MVP, let's call it anyway. Yeah, so of course for free, and and then you will see the benefits of it. So thank you very much.
Mm-hmm. So I just let's say we'll comment these abbreviations. POC, it's proof of concept, and VP, it's value proposition. Because
yes.
sometimes these abbreviations may mean many things. So in different occasions. Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay. Then I want also to ask my colleagues Matti and Eero. So are you ready to continue with the Red Hat presentation? Oh, Matti with the Red Hat is already there.
Hello. How are you, everybody?
You can use reaction buttons, yeah, here. Let's say to send your reaction like I am like this.
Excellent.
Okay, we got something like 45 people connected, yeah. So then I propose we continue with the Red Hat, yeah. It's a few minutes. It's 2 minutes before 11, yeah, which was proposed to be, yeah. So now the floor is yours, yeah.
Excellent. So Eero, go ahead. I guess you will do the first pitch.
Yes, I will do the first one. So let me check if I can share my stuff. Share screen here. Can you guys see my stuff well? Yes, Excellent. Well, hello everybody. Good to have such a nice amount of people here today. I'm here to talk about cool things that I was fortunate enough to build at my previous employer using Red Hat technology. So my name is Eero Arvonen. Nowadays I do work here at Red Hat as an architect within our consulting. And my skills are definitely in the application development side of things, and that'll show in today's presentation, I'm sure. So before we start out, let me make a couple of promises, since I know I'll be competing for brain time against email and mobile games and that sort of thing. So by the end of my slot today, you'll know why and how Red Hat technology enabled our team to become the most agile team within Enento, my previous employer. You'll also understand what it took to achieve beyond technology. In case you're into Java, you'll see some very interesting stuff as well. And if you're interested in recent developments and innovations in the financial services industry, you might just learn something about that as well. All right, so a quick word about my previous employer. Enento is a Nordic credit and company information service provider. So we're talking financial services industry, right? They collect data relevant to creditworthiness. They crunch it and provide some solutions that are able to quantify credit risk. Okay, and the way we would run our IT was something like this. So we did Java by and large. We had a bunch of EAPs, JBoss, application servers. We deployed dozens of applications per application server. And we had an okay deployment system, being able to deploy several times per week in our Monday and Wednesday morning windows, although sometimes we had to come in on Saturday. But we wanted to do better because, well, first, it was painful and slow to scale up. Apps were within the same EAP, same application server, so they kind of had dependencies all over. We had a very defined technology stack within those EAPs, which meant there wasn't that much room for easy experimentation and incremental modernization of our architecture, only big bang options, basically. Eventually, though, we ran a proof of concept with Red Hat and Openshift in specific, and we decided to go with that, and I'm sure Matti will tell you all about it later. But this is kind of where our story begins. So let's start by laying some groundwork. So there was a new piece of EU legislation that came into effect a couple of years back. Its name is PSD2, Payment Services Directive 2. And there's basically three parts to this legislation: AISP, PISP, and ASPSP here in the blue circle. But for Enento, the bottom left part, AISP, or Account Information Service Provider, was very interesting. And what that means is banks will have to hand over detailed account information through APIs to account information service providers that an individual wants to share their information with. And so Enento applied for and got the AISP license. So what was it that we built? Well, based on this PSD2 stuff, we built a system that can do the following. So here's Bob, and Bob wants credit. Yeah. So he goes to a lender, a financial institution, and applies for credit. Now the lender says, wait a minute, do we even want this guy as our customer? Do we want to borrow him a single cent? So the lender sends Bob to Enento. Enento asks for a consent to process Bob's bank account information and share it with the lender. So Bob says, okay. So Enento gets the data from the bank where Bob's bank accounts are. And Enento has a comprehensive company database, so it's able to match the bank transactions with various types of spending. For example, grocery stores, gas stations, restaurants, shopping, all sorts of things. And it's also able to detect regular income and loan payments. And Enento passes these facts to the lender. And lender says, okay, let's do this. So this is the service we built. We built the kind of the Enento part of this diagram. And now we get to the technology part. So all this, this is containers on OpenShift. In total, it's 8 microservices. It's mostly Java, although the front end is Node.js. There's also 3Scale from Red Hat as the API management tool, and DataGrid as the cache. And there's some data we store in a PostgreSQL database. I still keep referring to what we do, even though I don't work for Enento anymore, because I designed the whole system. I'm the dad, so it'll always be us and we when I talk about it. So why build all this on OpenShift? So first off, it's very easy to get a new microservice running, and actually the same goes for all middleware. I mentioned the cache and the database on the previous slide. Well, we can set it all up with by self-service, and we don't have to wait for, let's say, weeks for someone else to set it up for us. Secondly, since it's all containers, you're not quite as restricted by your infra in what you can build. And these points come together to show to support all kinds of experimentation really well, because you can just build something up, you can try it out, and then you can either throw it away if it's bad or keep it if it's good. And third, you obviously get all the benefits of Kubernetes. Since OpenShift is Kubernetes based, you get high availability to your services, you get scalability, you get self-healing. There's just more built-in automation to make sure your stuff runs smooth. So this is what we wanted, and this is what we got. And I think in the description of this event, there was a promise to talk about the fast deployments or how much faster they got. So we used a Jenkins-based workflow for builds and deployments. There was a Jenkins job per microservice per environment you'd run to promote said microservice from one environment to another. The dev, test, blah, 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 eventually production. Since we use containers, we have resource isolation. And so we don't have, let's say, 50 applications running in a single huge application server. Also, rollbacks were super easy as well. So the risks of deployments are now, and running stuff in general, they're now better managed because we only worry about a single microservice at a time. So as a result, our organization had decided that our service could now deploy into production whenever we wanted, instead of the normal windows on Monday and Wednesday mornings. If you think about it, the operational aspect of it is now automated, and all that remains is to determine whether the business logic works correct or not, right? And that's something only the application team would know. Now, here's the small catch to this, though. Someone needs to be more aware of these deployments, because since you can deploy stuff all the time, you will deploy stuff all the time. And someone, probably from the business, still needs to be okay with all of this. So someone needs to step up a little bit, and the organization definitely has to be ready for this stuff as well. And then talking about the technology from a different angle, a few words about about coding, in fact. So the microservices were coded in Java, like I said, and there's a specific Java framework that's designed for cloud-native Java applications, and it's called, well, who would guess, Quarkus, right? And even though we didn't start out with Quarkus, we did migrate our apps to Quarkus mid-project. So I guess I'm just gonna cut all the marketing speech here and go into why we as a customer decided to go with Quarkus. Mind you, nowadays there is a Red Hat supported build of Quarkus, but that was not the case back then. So first off, it reduces the footprint of your Java containers. With Java, when you split a monolith, a large application, into microservices, you will be going from a single JVM into multiple ones, and your memory requirements will actually be increased due to the overhead of running several, JVMs. With Quarkus, it's reduced, and you can actually run Quarkus as a Java application, or you can compile it into native executables where the memory consumption will go down way further. Now, the apps will also start up way faster, especially on native. And native would be the way to do serverless Java, although we didn't do it with the service we built. Third point, developer joy. Okay, I seem to have lied. This actually is one of those marketing nonsense terms I promised not to use. But anyway, developer joy was and is a thing. For instance, you can run your application in the development mode where it will hot swap your code, swap it in the moment you save your code file, and you'll be able to live code basically. And that would be the feature I and the whole team enjoyed the most out of Quarkus. And here are some concrete numbers. Like I said, we didn't start out with Quarkus, but rather migrated to it. So the left bars are the container image size, memory consumption, and CPU consumption of the application under load before migration. In the middle, we have the application running Quarkus on JVM. So we got lower memory usage and we got lower CPU consumption. Finally, there's Quarkus native. I actually choked the application all the way down to a maximum of 50 megabytes of RAM compared with the 1 gigabyte it took originally. So the CPU usage went up a little bit compared to Quarkus on JVM. Today, this particular apps run production workloads with 70 megabytes of memory. So that's pretty good for a production Java application, 70 megabytes, right? So yeah, that was the resource utilization side of things. And of course, we have the performance side as well. So this is what you give and this is what you get. So once again, we have from left to right the original framework, JVM, Quarkus, and native. So the big bar on the left is the startup time of the app pre-migration. So we went from a full minute startup to about 6 seconds on JVM Quarkus. And furthermore, when we ran native, it actually went down to about 200 milliseconds. So I decided to input one second into that bar just so it would be even visible in this diagram. Finally, we have our throughput, and that went up for both JVM and native builds. As you can see, more so for the JVM, but that's also explained by the strict memory limits that I set for the native compilation. And there's a funny little detail here with the memory consumption and the throughput, because and the CPU usage, because you can actually trade memory for process power if you'd like. Because if you compare to this one, the less you use memory, the more you will use CPU, and vice versa, up until a point. So if you're in a situation where you have to choose whether to expend CPU or memory resources, you can optimize this to some degree, which I found very cool and possibly useful as well. And yeah, I mean, that's basically all I had to present right now. We took a brief look at Enento and their business case. We saw the application architecture of the service we built. We learned how we were able to become more agile due to going with OpenShift, and we learned a little bit about Quarkus as well. And I've seemed to have preserved some time for some questions. I'm happy to drill down into any of the topics that I just touched. If you have any questions right now, I'll be happy to answer later. My email address is up there. So yeah, please.
So any questions? Just put in a chat or in a question Q&A tab. No, there are no questions. So then I propose we continue with Matti's presentation.
Very good.
Okay.
Let's do it. Let me hijack the and tell me when you see things.
Looking good.
Excellent. So thank you very much, Eero. Great and interesting kind of an introduction of, you know, the business benefits that we can achieve with a modern application platform. Very innovative results, and you did good work, and such good work that we decided to hire you to Red Hat. So it's good to have you on board. So my portion is going to be talking about, you know, what is this modern application platform that we call OpenShift? Why has it come to be, and why is there a specific reason why OpenShift has become kind of like a de facto standard when it comes to container orchestration? So my name is Matti Nieminen. I work as a hybrid cloud sales specialist. Hello to everybody. And also you can see my email there, matti@redhat.com, if you wish to approach at some stage later with questions or anything. And we will be sure to, with DATI Group, to resolve all your questions. So we cannot immediately jump into the actual theme of OpenShift before we kind of clear out, you know, some facts. And the facts are, of course, that the open source community is really the source of innovation. The community actually consists of roughly 1 million different open source projects, and some say that there are about 16 to 17 million passionate contributors of code who are participating in these community projects. And throughout time, we've seen that, you know, massive innovations like Linux or Ansible or Android for mobile, or for data analytics, we can talk Hadoop, or, you know, these projects have derived from the open source community. And why is it? Well, because the community of people, they are passionate, they want to resolve challenges that the world is constantly throwing at us. And there are millions and millions of eyes on the code. And the idea is to keep moving forward, be more innovative, be fast. And we've seen that, you know, great projects have derived from the open source community. And Red Hat does have something to say about it, because we have been actively working, living, participating in the open source community for already over 25 plus years. So, we've managed to grow, for the past quarter of a century, navigating through the jungle of the open source community, participating in the best projects, and in the end, delivering value to our customers. Because that is what Red Hat does. We participate in the best projects, we commercialize them, we harden them, we patch them, we give them support and documentation and training, and that's when we provide it as a ready-made commercial product for enterprises to use risk-free. And then we push it back into the open source community for free, so it can only become better and better and better. And that is how Red Hat has been doing business successfully. Now, let's talk about containers. Eero gave actually a very good introduction in terms of how the world looked before and how it looks now. So if we kind of relate to that story, we could say that application development in some sense before containers could be something like this. We were in the era of horse and carriages and steamships. Developers were and I guess still are, in under pressure to really answer the needs of the business. But not too long ago, it was still very difficult and time consuming to get the resources for the developers so they can start developing. They would open up a ticket and maybe it would take a week or something for them to get actually the virtual machines that they needed to start actually doing the code, etc. And at the same time, business was really banging on their heads that where is our new applications? And, it was a time when many companies actually turned to shadow IT and went via the internal IT to the cloud, because the cloud was already embracing container technologies. And it allowed them to be more flexible, more quicker, build these microservices away from the monoliths, like Eero described. But then something started to change. Also, the vast kind of explosion of the popularity of containers started. Definitely not a new invention. Containers were already back in the days in the 70s. IBM would know a thing or two about it. But what happened is that the containers started to become standardized. And also they started to be simplified in the way we can manage and the way we have created infrastructure to handle and organize and manage the big number of containers we have. And one of the key technologies, of course, was Kubernetes. Originally a Google in-house open source project. Well, maybe not open source at the time, but Google actually came to Red Hat and asked, hey, we have this interesting project in-house called, Kubernetes. We think it might be up to something, can you help us to take it to the open source community? And they came to Red Hat specifically because of our position in the open source world. Like I showed you in the beginning, over 25 years. And this was actually at the end of 2014, and definitely Red Hat saw big potential in Kubernetes. And we helped Google to form the project Kubernetes into the open source community. And at the time, Red Hat actually had Openshift as a product with a different orchestrator. But we kicked that out and immediately took Kubernetes, and Kubernetes has been our container orchestrator from 2015. So already 7 years we've been actively contributing. We are the second largest contributor of code to Kubernetes projects right now. So a brief history of Kubernetes in that sense. So a new era of standardization and simplification started. But also, when it opened up a lot of possibilities, it also created a lot of complexity, because now we have a challenge to really work out how are we able to run production grade services using container technologies. And with containers, things can go wrong as well. And everybody knows perhaps this story with this specific incident. So the question is that what if there is a consistent way to run everything? Consistent regardless of where you run it. And what if you could control all of those containers and clusters in the best way possible, like the One Ring in the Lord of the Rings? Now, let's pause that for a second and study what is or what should be in a modern application platform if we decide to run production-grade workloads on it. Well, of course, it should be a unified platform where your developers, your security people, and your operations people can collaborate together. It should also be transparent to the developers, because the developers, they necessarily don't have time or not interested in what's happening on the infrastructure side. They want to do what they do best, and that's to create code to develop. Now, the platform should also be extensible and should work with what tools you already have in place. Observability, management, and monitoring, definitely, and runs on any infrastructure. Security configuration management and enforcement, consistent data management. And of course, when we're talking about containers, we should definitely have vulnerability scanning and secure image management. So these are like 8 must-have components in a modern application platform. And like we discussed, it is possible to actually build one yourself. It's also possible to build a car by yourself, but it means that you need a lot of expertise, definitely a lot of parts like you see in the picture, and time. And if we take this picture into the open source world, we see that yes, the components are there. Each and different kind of project is there to contribute into a modern application platform. And this is actually just a sneak peek, because the Cloud Native Computing Foundation has released a map, for the cloud native landscape. And you can see from the picture that, if we're talking about management, container registry, container runtime, different platform services, there are dozens and dozens and dozens of different projects available for free to anybody to use. But is it really free though? Mr. Rory McCune a while ago said that, hey, Kubernetes security statistic of the day, there are currently 110,000 Kubernetes API servers online showing their version numbers. And roughly 25,000 of those are running out of support versions. And that's just the ones they can see info for. Alarming? I think so. Also, a study was done by Fortinet and Chromtech, who found 17 tainted Docker containers, which were downloadable images from Docker Hub that had been designed to mine cryptocurrencies. And they actually found out that these 17 containers were already downloaded 5 million times. And when we kind of take, the risks into context, with the fact that last year alone, 6 million new versions of open source software was introduced, we see that also the amount of attacks, supply chain attacks for open source software has increased by 650%. And there's an example on the SolarWinds case that a predicted cost of $25 million was the price of a recent supply chain attack that they faced. Or the Equifax dilemma, where they are looking at a $2 billion cost for a data breach that resulted from one unpatched bug. So we are talking about big numbers and concrete cost for using potentially free software. And it really comes down to the question, if we're building and maintaining a modern application platform, that is it really your business focus? Is that where your company does your money? By building your own Kubernetes environment to host cloud native workloads? Because these services definitely are not free. You have to build all of these gray boxes around your Kubernetes if you want to run production grade application platform for your containerized workloads. And if you decide to go public cloud, for example, you're going to be very tightly wound into that specific environment, because all of these tools are native cloud services that cannot be flexibly transferred to any other environment. And what we have unfortunately seen in today's world is flexibility is a very important asset. We don't know what's going to be happening in the market. We don't know geographically if we suddenly have to pull our services from the cloud on-premise. And there can be a lot of question marks around that. So, what is your business focus? That is the question. Now, let's get back to the story. What if there was a unified platform to secure, protect, and manage application throughout the entire software lifecycle across Kubernetes clusters, wherever they run? And it was ready to run, so you didn't have to piece it together yourself. And it actually is already assembled. It has premium support and a warranty. And that is exactly what Red Hat Openshift container platform is. Like we heard in the IBM talk before this, one of the key reasons why IBM bought Red Hat was our leadership in the container space and automation space as well. But what Red Hat Openshift container platform really is, it is a trusted enterprise Kubernetes. It can give our customers and partners a cloud-like experience everywhere. And it already has a complete set of advanced services that can really enhance the controlling and monitoring and all the interfaces that our customers need and like. And more importantly, with OpenShift, we want to empower the developers to innovate so they can, better integrate their developer workflows to get all the applications to production sooner. Because if we're talking about digital transformation or whatever, it's a competition, and we need speed, and we need flexibility, and we need to scale. And we can do this with Red Hat Openshift. Just to give you kind of like a stack picture of what OpenShift really is, it is a turnkey application platform, meaning that you can get into developing business application fast. It is the fastest path to cloud. OpenShift does have a Linux, or a Red Hat container host operating system. It includes 100% Kubernetes for orchestration. And then it includes all of the best monitoring, logging, storage, networking, cluster services that we have bundled into the solution already, so you don't have to. And some of the services that we have ready is, for example, the OpenShift service mesh with Istio, or OpenShift serverless functions done with Knative, function as a service. We have Red Hat OpenShift pipelines with Tekton, Red Hat OpenShift GitOps with Arco CD. We have Red Hat runtimes, including, like Eero just talked about, Quarkus, OpenJDK, JBoss, Node.js, Apache Tomcat. We have the support for all of these runtime pieces, but also OpenShift developer consoles, command line, code-ready workspaces, IDE plugins, you name it. Prometheus, application level observability, and Red Hat OpenShift API management can be added as well. So we have the ready-made bundle as a single SKU for our partners and customers to consume. And when I was talking about the Kubernetes project that actually started with Red Hat from 2015, it means that we already have 7+ years, almost 8 years of Kubernetes leadership. Just a second. Kubernetes leadership, which has allowed us to create a ready-made ecosystem. Ecosystem that's available from today, already today, in AWS, in Azure, in IBM Cloud, or in Google Cloud. So we've been able to standardize the way of modern application development. Because when you can have OpenShift on-premise in your data centers or with your partners, you can have the same functionality and the same way of developing and running containerized workloads already in the public cloud, meaning that you will have instant hybrid cloud capabilities. And the way you standardize your development on-premise is exactly the same how it's done in the public cloud. And standardization gives you less risk, more compliance, and speed to develop your services. And we do actually have an OpenShift platform plus, where we have added even more centralized visibility across the hybrid cloud. And we have a tool called Advanced Cluster Management, ACM. So this means that you can control various Kubernetes clusters wherever they may reside in a single management view. But also we provide an additional multi-cluster security tool called Advanced Cluster Security. So we can have Kubernetes native security functions also integrated into the hybrid cloud. Now we talked about containers and how it's important to have vulnerability scanning. And that's where we have Quay, our container registry with different security scanning services. And we also provide data services for consistent data management for the container workloads. Now these 4 pieces are add-on for our OpenShift container platform. So this is the OpenShift Platform Plus package. But likewise, the same OpenShift Platform Plus can reside also in the hybrid cloud world. Now, you can indeed go and build the engine, but the engine doesn't really get you anywhere. So these are the pure kind of Kubernetes services that you can get from the public cloud, for example. But you still have to maintain it, build it, integrate, test it yourself. You may opt to get the parts of the vehicle and add, cloud native services, monitoring metrics, service mesh logging. But you still have a Kubernetes service with native services, and you are not really kind of being flexible anymore. You are building overhead of maintenance, updating, and you're still kind of kind of sticking yourself to that specific cloud vendor. So we propose to go with a modern application platform. So you can be sure that everything is already pre-checked with a warranty, with, you know, service capabilities. So you just have to concentrate on driving as quickly as you can. And having it on OpenShift means that you are flexible to choose the environment of your liking. So we want to give our customers choice. And if you want to go with the full service, the limo, you know, that's where Red Hat partnering, you know, with cloud service providers, we provide as a joint offering the support and operations. So all is left is for you to consume, you know, this innovative modern application platform. So if you want to buy OpenShift as a service, for example. So what do you want to do? Do you want to go with the engine and stick around, or perhaps accelerate to, you know, business success with a ready-made solution? And a lot of our customers have seen the benefits of OpenShift. Like Eero described the Enento use case, great benefits there. But there's another company from the insurance field that says that, you know, by leveraging OpenShift, they've been able to have 40% increase in sales over 3 years because of the new revenue streams they've been able to generate. Or Turkcell, for example, as a telco company who said that they were able to reduce infrastructure cost for their AI workloads by using OpenShift by 70%. And this is because we can provide the automated full stack installation. We have the seamless Kubernetes deployments. We do auto scaling of resources, and it's one-click lifecycle management. We can update the whole OpenShift stack and infrastructure solution from the operating system up by just the push of a one button. And these customers and many other customers are embracing OpenShift at the moment. We have a lot of customers in the FSI sector. We have government customers, military customers who are very, very kind of stringent of the security features of their container environments. But of course, media, telecom companies. So we have a lot of references and a lot of local references as well. And our customers and our partners have enabled us to be the market leader. And we're you know, continuing in this efforts, our efforts to provide the best solutions for our customers, you know, to bring out more innovation all the time from the open source community to OpenShift, but also all the other products that we provide our customers and partners, for example, Ansible, or the middleware portfolio, API integration, etc. So thank you very much. This was my kind of a OpenShift introduction where Eero left off. And I hope you have an idea of what is Red Hat's position with Kubernetes, what OpenShift really is, and what we can actually achieve with OpenShift. So if you have any questions or anything, very happy to answer with Eero, if Eero is still on the line.
So for questions, yeah, I just remind, yeah, please use the chat function, tērzēšanas funkciju, or Q&A, or jautājumu un atbild. In what language your interface is, yeah, with the Microsoft Teams. Or raise a hand, yeah, if you want to speak.
I see at least there's 20 people have left during my presentation. So
No. Yeah. So, and that's a good sign. Yeah. So because we had two different topics, so let's say they are related in some way, yeah. Because of course, let's say for the data analytics, you need also proper infrastructure, yeah. And that's what was your topic, yeah. But maybe some people were more interested exactly for the let's say in the data analytics topics itself, yeah. So, but yeah, we still got some 30 people online, yeah. So that's, I think it's a very good sign. This means that the subjects we touched are really of great interest, yeah. So unfortunately there are no questions, but I think that's typical Latvian, maybe also typical Finnish, yeah. It's in our DNA that we don't want to express ourselves too much, yeah. So, and sometimes we are hesitating to ask questions and so on, yeah. But therefore, I hope we will get some questions or some contacts afterwards, yeah. Because you know that we are, and I'm speaking to Matti and Eero. I mentioned this already in my introduction, yeah. We have recorded this session, yeah, and we will send the link to this recording, yeah, to all people who participated, yeah, and who have registered, yeah. Okay, thank you very much for your insights and for your great case study with the financial organization, yeah, or financial information organization, yeah. So that's also a good thing, yeah. So that we got the technology and we show how we apply it, yeah, in the real life, yeah. Okay, thank you very much, and I will switch back to Latvian, yeah, for some closing remarks, yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
Jā, tad paldies webināru noslēgumā vēlreiz atgādinu, ka mēs nosūtīsim saiti ar webināru ierakstu uz jūsu e-pasta adresēm, ar kurām jūs reģistrējāties. Ja? Un, ja jums rodas kādi jautājumi vai nepieciešama kāda papildus informācija par šeit skartajām tēmām, tad datu analītika vai infrastruktūra, datu analītika, infrastruktūra, DevOps videi, lūdzu sazinieties ar mums, ja? Uz DATI Group, ja? Tad es Pērzētavā, ja, ierakstīja mūsu kontakts, ja. Tad pats vienkāršākais ir info@datigroup.com, ja, vai arī uz manu personīgo e-pasta adresi vai uz manu personīgo telefonu varat droši zvanīt, ja. Tad paldies par dalību un uz tikšanos nākošajos pasākumos, ja. Mēs aicināsim jūs vēl, tik līdz mums būs kāda interesanta tēma, par kur mēs vēlētos pastāstīt, ja. Tad lūdzu piesakieties un lūdzu piedalieties, ja. Šodien paldies un lai jums jauka diena.